What is up, everyone? Welcome to the 20 Podcast. I'm your host, DJ Spider. That's right. Our show is brought to you by Beatsource, the music streaming service for DJs that play everything. Beatsource has got all the music you could need for any and every gig, along with expertly curated playlists, songs no other record pools have, custom edits, and so much more. Visit Beatsource.com for a free 30-day trial to experiment and see what you can do with this amazing technology. Beatsource link alone is just incredible. Also, you can use the code THE20 to get a 60-day free trial. So do that. Let me know what you think. You want to contact me? I'm easily reachable. Hit me, guys. Instagram at DJ Spider, DJSPIDER. Send me a direct message. And also, please, if you want to support us, rate and review the podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We're on every platform. So do that. Help us grow. Help us keep going. We can't do this without you guys. It's a community. It's me, DJ Spider. It's the team, Anthony, Vlatz, everyone at Beatsource, and it's you guys, the Beatsourcers. That's right. We're all a team, guys. We're all together. Thank you for listening. And I am so lucky to be doing this podcast. I get to meet so many amazing people. I get to learn so much. And today is no different because I've got on today's show one of the most trusted people in the world of YouTube gear reviews, someone that is part of the Beatsource and DJ City family. So I've been asking him to come on here for a minute, so I'm glad we finally did it. His gear reviews for DJ City have been called Tips and Tricks. They're legendary. My go-to video, when I want to learn about something, or even when I wasn't planning on learning about something and I get sucked into it and he teaches me about a whole thing and then I want to buy some insane video switcher I probably don't need, which happens on today's episode, you'll hear. But not only is he, let me fill you in though. So he had tips and tricks on DJ City, which now has evolved into the Beatsource shows, two different shows, Beatsource Tech and Beatsource Basics. And the Basics is a tips and tricks type show, and the Tech show, pretty self-explanatory. He breaks it down on this episode what it is, but super interesting. You got to check the new shows. But not only is he an amazing video presenter, he's also a longtime open format DJ who made a big mark in the streaming game over the past couple years on Twitch. He also breaks down the past probably 30 years of his career and all of the gigs he's done and what he's learned over all that time. Super interesting. And on this episode, he breaks down his equipment and his process for his streams, which was crazy interesting to me. I got to go back, rewind, and write this stuff down. We also discuss all types of DJ related things, of course, including DJ AM. He asked me some questions and I was able to tell some stories. We talk about all kinds of other crazy gear, from video to audio to, DJ stuff. And I even play him a recording of himself that I heard on another podcast, and I slowed it down to half speed so he could hear what he would sound like if he was super drunk on that podcast, which, leads to some uncontrollable laughter. We're like crying. I was listening to this by myself, so I had to play it for him, and I think it paid off. I'm so glad we finally got him on the show. So please welcome Mojaxx. It's the 20 Podcast. We've got the man himself, Mojaxx. Give it up. Oh, I don't even know if I have my... Oh, my God. That's a scary sound for you. That's
the Halloween special.
My applause got replaced by that. Okay, and a joke thing. So sorry about that. Let's give him the real applause, people. Give it up, Mojaxx.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Far too kind.
There we go. He's in the place to be. I can't believe we made this happen. We were trying to get you on the show months ago, years ago, but you weren't ready. You had to prepare yourself to come on this podcast.
Yeah, and scheduling never worked and everything else.
That's true.
It's just one of those things. And I sometimes if I do too many of these kind of things, it gets to the point where you're telling the same stories from your early life and stuff. People always ask about how you got into DJing.
Yeah.
It's like, I've told that story on 7 different podcasts now, and it's cool, but I don't just want, I want to talk about something different.
It's so true. I listen back, like I try to listen back to other podcasts, especially if someone's been on road podcast or a very similar one. Because I want to like avoid asking the exact same questions or go through that same like, you're a tech guy, what was your first turntable? I'm sure, or like something that I'm sure everybody asks you. And I mean, sometimes different audiences, but yeah, I try to go back, or I'll try to reference, like, you can hear that on road, like, here, just go back and check that on there, because I get it. It's the same story. People ask me about like a Bill Murray story and like DJ AM or, different standardized
that's
questions.
The thing, right? I'm here today. We're flipping this show around because basically I just want to ask you about DJ AM for about an hour. If that's all right.
Let's go. Let's make this a two-way street.
The fact that you knew AM at all, AM is such a strange phenomenon here in the UK, because basically, apart from people who read like gossip magazines or whatever, no one who isn't a DJ knows who DJ AM is in the UK. As far as I can tell. Because, I mean, did he even come and play in the UK, like, even once?
I don't know, to tell you the truth.
I don't think he did. I might be wrong, but I don't think he did. And it's like one of those things where it was the internet, everyone was on, like, Lobby and stuff all the time. And so all of us DJs in the UK were all lurking on there. We all knew about AM. We saw the videos. YouTube was blowing up at that time. So we saw the videos. We saw it all growing, but we never got a chance really to see AM live, and it was all just like this internet thing to us, and like we had this amazing, this massive respect for AM from across the pond, but I don't think I know anyone over here who ever saw him perform. And so it's crazy. It makes it more mythical almost in a way. He's more like a mythical figure because he's like this guy that we never really got a chance to see before he passed. It's just like crazy to me.
Right.
And you just hung out with him. Like, well, it's wild.
It is crazy to think about. And I think I do take for granted the fact that I just hung out with him, because even people I know here that I'm good friends with that are DJs and people that idolize him, they're like, I've never even seen him live or met him. And I'm like, that's crazy. I just assumed you did. And he passed away a long time ago. So a lot of younger people truly probably don't know who he is or understand how big of an impact he made. And like you said, there wasn't very much like, Instagram stories and like things like that where people were, you were able to see him as much.
The Hot 97 mix and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like that was where we heard AM. We didn't have the lots of videos and stuff like that. I mean, we did see some videos, but it was mostly, his mixes and stuff that were getting posted on SoundCloud or whatever. And it was a very different time for that. But it was funny because you were talking to Politic on another episode about, he was saying about the European DJ culture and how to me, in the late 90s, people like David Morales and Todd Terry, you could go and see them in the UK pretty much every weekend. And back home, they couldn't get arrested in New York City. It was like crazy. And whereas AM was not that touring DJ in that kind of that UK Europe kind of culture that we have. He was very much about LA and Vegas and these kind of cities which didn't really cross over. So I find the AM thing endlessly fascinating, and I've heard all of your stories about AM on this show, and I love hearing them because it is just a different aspect of DJ culture that me, especially as a house head, doesn't, I've never been a part of that Vegas. I've never been to Vegas and seen DJs play or anything like that. It's a completely different world to me, but I find it endlessly fascinating. And, but his influence was so big on us, even though we never saw him play. Everybody was just like, he transformed the way people DJ, 100%. It was an incredibly important time, I thought.
That's so crazy to think about. You're right. I mean, he really was very focused in, on Vegas and LA, and then every major market in America wanted, and Canada and wherever, wanted to be Vegas. And so they imitated the bottle service culture and, started, I remember he would always demand having in the beginning, probably a TTM 56 and a SL1 box and then a TTM 57. But those started to be standard in clubs, which probably wouldn't have happened without him, and just spread that our type of, the open format, scratching, pushing buttons and, mixing everything together type of DJ, got more of a place, in their the equipment in the, in the club. So
yeah, and I think Serato owe him and Jazzy Jeff a huge debt of gratitude, because I think out of everybody, those were the two guys who spread the gospel of Serato
and A-Track.
Scratch Live.
I would say A-Track.
And A-Track, yeah, A-Track, although he went Tractor later on for a bit, didn't he? But like, you know, those guys in the early days, they were the ones who really pushed that Serato Scratch Live thing, and that's what really made it acceptable all over the place. I mean, I remember seeing, Jazzy Jeff, it was probably around 2006, maybe. Yeah, 2005, 2006, and I saw him at Fabric in London playing his proper hip-hop set when he had Skills there as the MC, and it was just, it blew me away. I'd never seen a performance like that in a club in my entire life, and to see him do that with Scratch Live, and I think I was already on Serato by then, but like he was using the 909 with like the ducking echo and stuff, and that literally changed my DJing overnight, having seen that set, because I heard him do the echo out, and I'd never heard a DJ do echo out before. And I literally, like, within a week, I'd bought myself an EFX 500 and a 707, and I was doing echo out on everything, and still to this day I echo out far too much all the time.
Oh my God,
like,
same thing.
Changed my DJing.
Same, because I couldn't get it. Probably couldn't afford, and then once I used it, I couldn't figure out the 909. I bought the EFX 500. I have it like, I don't know, over here somewhere. I remember I was just showing it to Drew from Pioneer, and he was like, "How do you have that?" And I'm like, "I have the 1000 too," but I would bring the 500 everywhere I went to do the echo out thing at all times. And talking about changing your DJing instantaneously by seeing someone, I'm sure I've told this story on here before, but the day I met AM, similar kind of thing. You know, I'm in Vegas with Steve Wonder. We're doing this corporate gig where we're DJing 8 hours a day. We had this new technology called Serato. We also had 8 crates of records, you know, because that's what you did. I had 4, he had 4. We were ready to DJ all day and night. And we had Serato with the TTM 56 and a SL1 box, and my Vestax turntables with the ultra pitch thing that you could go crazy with. And I remember he came in, and I had the EFX 500 hooked up on the side because there was no room, so I could like do my little echo outs and use that little wheel for the phaser, whatever, flanger or something.
I pulled mine out. I'm reviewing a rotary mixer which has an effects end in return. I pulled the EFX 500 out of the closet the other day. It's literally across the room from me now. Like I was just amazing. It sounds like garbage, but it still works real good. Like it's great.
Yeah, it's the nostalgia. But I remember he came in, and they're like, "We got this guy DJ AM, you know, he's Nicole Richie's boyfriend," and we were DJing the Bongo Jeans event, and she was the spokesperson. They're like, "So we got him to come DJ for an hour." I'm like, this is, you know, crazy. He comes in, and I'd been on Serato, I don't know how long, maybe months, maybe a year, maybe just like a good amount of months. So I wasn't 100% ready, but I had been recording every piece of vinyl in to get my MP3s, you know, if I wasn't ripping the CDs, and I would record them in side by side. So that's how my MP3s were. It was, you know, OB Trice, you know, side A. And then I'd write in side A, like clean, dirty, instrumental. And then side B, like this song and this acapella. And like and then I used ABS, you know, absolute mode, and I would drop the needle. And that was like
wild.
Well, because I thought that's what Serato was. Like, it was to imitate vinyl. So, and then if I did doubles, I would drop it on and do the vinyl and do the thing. And I'm like, this is so cool. And then this guy AM comes in. First of all, he's playing pre-made edits and mashups, which I had never thought to do, really. I'm like, I thought you just played a song, or I did a live blend. And he has these colors like on the file in the Serato and on there, the cue point, and he's pushing them to restart, like the Billie Jean drums with like the Kill Bill whistle or like whatever it is going, and he's restarting it instantly and able to do doubles. And I was, like you said, instantly changed my DJing. I look at Steve Wonder, I'm like, look what he's doing. We're doing everything wrong. He's using that REL mode. Like, I didn't even know what it stood for. So we go back and changed everything, re-edited every MP3 and put cue points and, you know, changed the way I did everything. Started making acapella outs and all these crazy things, and even figured out this weird hack that like I'll still do in Serato where I load the song on the same side that's playing to almost give it like an instant acapella out type of effect.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big change for me too, seeing him. And that was the day I met him. And really, like you said, I'm the luckiest person in the world that I got to go see him DJ, open up for him, hang around him, and just hear him talk. And like my birthday's right around Christmas. It's like December 22nd. So no one's ever around, especially like I grew up in LA and most everybody in LA is not from LA. So everyone leaves. It's usually just me and a few people. And he would somehow like end up DJing some tiny bar on my birthday for like a few years in a row. It was like the greatest gift I ever could have had in my life. Like
amazing.
He would be like, "Where are you guys going?" We're like, "We're going to this place, super low key." He's like, "I'm going to come do a Miami bass set." I'm like, "All right." He would come spin for an hour, all Miami bass scratching. You know, we're just watching AM, like 5 of us. I'm like, this is mind blowing. Like, I can't believe this, you know? So yeah,
it's
being
so funny,
being
like,
able
people
to
always say like, don't meet your heroes. You know what I mean? And that's nonsense because actually all of my heroes have all turned out to be really good people. You know, and I think that's the key in the game, right? In the whole music game or in any game, those who have longevity, those who actually, you know, carry through and have a good career are those who are just nice people. Because if you're a bit of a dick, you know, pardon my French, no one's going to work with you for very long, right? Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things. If you're not a nice person in some way, like you're going to fall off. And so like, I look at someone like Jazzy Jeff and I look at the career that he's had and I've got to hang out with Jazzy Jeff a few times and like just a super nice guy, you know, like incredibly talented. But one of the reasons that he's still on top of the game is just because he's an incredibly nice person and you want to spend time with him and you want to hang out with him. And that's what gets you booked again. It might not get you booked the first time, but it's what will get you booked again. If people hang out with you and have a good time and enjoy your company, that will, you know. So I think, it's nice to know that someone like AM was fundamentally just a good guy as well.
Yeah.
And he wasn't just talented and, you know, there's this image of super talented people like they're just kind of knobs. But like it seems like he's one of those guys. He was a real one, you know, like a solid
definite real one. And I think that's the thing that shines through even more than being just quote unquote nice is just being genuine. Like you can even be kind of a jerk, not like putting people down, you know, like bully, but you can say whatever the hell you want and be very blunt. As long as you're genuine, I think people will appreciate it. Right. And Jazzy Jeff, like you said, seeing him do that stuff and being blown away by it. And then this morning I wake up to like Scratch Bastard and a few people's Instagram stories and I'm watching them all at South by Southwest and Jazzy Jeff doing his thing there, you know, and it's incredible just to watch and Scratch Bastard and everyone last night. I was like definitely getting a little bit of FOMO. Like I wish I was out there.
Yeah. Not ready to go to Texas right now.
Oh my God.
The plague state.
Yes, it is plague state. But I mean, I know I had COVID last month, so I'm like, okay, I feel like I have this like invincibility. Okay, I'm glad you're healthy. Did your family get it?
3 shots, and then the whole family got it. No one was really ill. I had like a snotty nose for 3 days, and that was it. So you know, but I'd rather not talk about that because it is depressing. But I do feel like because I kind of hid away. You know, 2020, we all had to hide away. That was the rules. 2021, I still kind of hid away quite a lot. You know, I had opportunities to play places. The only place I really felt happy to play was in my sort of residency where it's like, I don't know if you have these in the US, you know, shipping containers. People build like a maze out of shipping containers and there's like different food spots in each shipping container and stuff.
I've seen it more and more now. Yeah. It's starting to become a thing.
And I have my own shipping container on top of, so I'm like one level up. So I'm basically about 50 feet away from any other human being. I'm the only person in this shipping container, me and my DJ booth. And it's like, I felt safe in there. I felt calm in there because it's like, I'm just locked away in my little box and like no one could come near me. And that was the only place I really felt comfortable DJing last year. But now I've had my 3 shots. I've got the natural immunity as well because I've had Rona now. So 2022, I'm ready to get amongst it. Like, I'm all about it now.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
no, I'm on the same page.
not going to get any better than this, you know?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I'm going to take advantage of these few months before like something comes back or while I'm immune or something, because same, like we're parents. I think both of us are parents. We have families, older. My parents are around. Like, I didn't want to get it either. I definitely went and did some things in 2021, but I wouldn't go out a lot and do extracurricular stuff or see people. And even these past couple weeks, I went out just to like watch Politic DJ at that spot he was talking about. I went and saw him last week, and I went out to see, a few people. I was going to go see A-Track, but he went on at 2 a.m. It was daylight savings, and I was like, I can't do this. And my son has like 8 a.m. basketball games and stuff. But same. And then everybody I saw was like, I've never seen you out. I can't believe you're out. Where have you been? Yeah. And it's the same kind of thing. I was just like, I'd rather hide away, do my thing, work on other stuff, and be safe, and then come out when I feel comfortable. So it was around Super Bowl when I went out to my first like big party. I saw Politic. I saw Mark Ronson. I saw everybody there. And I'm like, okay, I can sneak back out into the world. And so I would go to South by Southwest if I could, but I'm not going to.
No.
So yes, but it looks amazing, and I think it's great to have those. It's a tragic loss to not have AM around. I mean, I would love to see just what he would be doing on Twitch. I bet you he would be super into it.
Imagine. Yeah.
And doing the dopest shit on Twitch. I know it. But it's amazing to have Jazzy Jeff, Scratch Bastard, all these people, and all of these amazing people that we either reconnected with or were reintroduced to through Twitch, and were able to watch, listen to, and be inspired by. I mean, right before we started recording, I was watching The Gaff up in Canada.
Oh, man. Killing it. Yeah.
Killing it. Like, putting me in a good mood. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, I watched him make an espresso, and it was fun for me. Like, I'm just like, I'm eating a sandwich and preparing for this, and he's like playing Afro beats, like old school like type Afro beats, and then goes in the kitchen and makes an espresso, and it was just fun. That's the thing about streaming. It's so much more than just the music, and the music alone would draw me into it, but I get to know these people and their life and feel the vibes for real, and it's just such a great thing to have, so at least we have all that inspiration.
It's magic. It is
right?
Magic. Like, Twitch is honestly, it's incredible. Like, not just as a streamer, but as someone who gets to consume all of this content from around the world. It is incredible. It's like a dream. It's like a fever dream. How dope it is. Like, it's incredible. The fact that I can wake up in the morning. I wake up and it's breakfast time. I'm eating my cereal and I'm watching Buck Rogers finish his set in the middle of the night. His time, And I'm watching. Or like I wake up and there's 4-color Zach on. Doing the 4-color Zach thing, which is obviously on a different level from most people. But Buck Rogers the same. Like, so many DJs. Or I'll just sit in the afternoon. I'm editing a video or something. Right, I'll fire up Twitch and just have some background music, and there's people from all over the world DJing and doing incredible things musically, visually, in terms of interaction. It blows my mind every day, man. Twitch it is a fantasy land, man. It's incredible.
It really is. Because, I mean, we used to have to go out to get that feeling. Like that, talk about DJ AM, like anytime he was DJing, I would hit up Steve Wonder or like someone I was friends with that was around, or DJ Equal or someone. I'd be like, we have, come with me. We're going to see him, because there was no chance that we were like going to leave that night and not be inspired and have to find at least one new song, or have to practice scratching, or just some sort of inspiration would come from that night. And, there's so many DJs in my life that are like that, but Twitch will do that all day long, and especially during the height of the pandemic when there was nowhere else to go, and I would go on a bike ride and listen to DJ Marky and playing drum and bass in Brazil, and then DJ Nuts playing an insane funk set, soul set in Brazil, and then go over and watch Scratch Bastard, and then everybody, and Headspin, and I'm literally traveling the world listening to you playing like your Progress show or Liquid Drum and Bass or whatever it is, and then even meeting people like Cleveland Terry and all of these talk shows, and it's just been amazing.
it's the community aspect as much as anything else. That is what really counts. It's the fact that you can drop in to like random streams where you've like hung out a few times, and it's like cheers, everybody knows your name kind of thing. And it's just like so community orientated, and I just love that about it. I absolutely do. And it's like you say, reconnecting with people that you haven't spoken to for a long time, and actually connecting with new people who you've never, you're aware of each other, but you've never actually linked, that kind of thing. And I live in the UK. I live in the northeast of the UK. I'm like 3.5 hours away from London on a train. It's not like I can go to a lot of these kind of big gigs and stuff all the time that are going down in London. So it's like, for me, it's a chance to, and I've got kids, I can't go out. If I'm not DJing, if I'm not getting paid, chances are I'm not going out. Like, that's just the thing that, it's kind of been my whole life pretty much, but like even more so now, I can't justify going out till 2 in the morning when, like you say, the kids got basketball at 8 a.m. or whatever. It becomes, but with Twitch now, I can connect with people in that kind of virtual sense. It's the metaverse, if you like, in a lot of ways. Like we can now connect with other people through the internet like that, and it is magic. And it's not just us. It's there are people who can't afford to go out. They literally can't afford to go out, but they can afford to sit and watch a Twitch stream on their phone. There's people who maybe have disabilities or something. They can't go out raving when they want to go, but they can be part of this music and DJ culture that we're part of. They can be a part of that now as well, because they can sit and enjoy a Twitch stream and type, and there's any kind of reasons why people can't go to see a DJ perform live. And so to bring that into their lives, and radio, certainly here in the UK, and I think more so in the US now than it's ever been, it doesn't connect you with a DJ in that way. Maybe at one point radio kind of did that a bit more, but no, it's radio is so commercialized and everything else. You don't get that personal connection, but you do with Twitch. And I just, as I say, for me, it's magic. And I'm now, you talk about my progress show and the liquid drum and bass. I've actually dropped all of that. I will be, by the time this episode goes out, I'm going full on, like funky, soulful disco, jack in house. Great. Because in the beginning of, because you want to give some consistency to people, right? When they come to your channel, you want to give them an idea of what they're going to get. And I was playing all kinds of random different sets all the time, and it's like, what is this guy Mojaxx playing on his Twitch? Like, you turn up one day and it's completely different from the next day. I want to bring a bit of consistency. I'm now looking at Twitch as like, what do I want to play on Twitch every time I go on there for the next 5 years? Whereas in the
you're just going to try to stick to one thing.
I'll go slightly different directions with it, but it's all just going to be house, kind of funky, and kind of accessible as well. The progress stuff it's a little bit niche, but when I started it, I genuinely, I've thought about this now because I'm approaching 100 episodes. Next week is my 100th episode of progress.
Oh, wow.
My 2-year Twitch anniversary is April the 1st.
Give it up.
And it's the longest like musical project I've ever done in my life. Like, I've never stuck with anything that long. So I'm stoked about it. But part of doing that progressive house and melodic techno and stuff is, in the beginning of the pandemic, firstly, I thought it might probably die quite soon. Like, there was, the plague was there. It was happening. There was a fairly high chance that we were all going to die. And I was just like, if I'm going to die in the next couple of months, I'd rather go out playing the stuff that made me happy when I was like 20 years old. I want to go out playing. I want to feel like a young person again. Like, and so that was part of what brought that to me in the first place.
It's true. The whole world felt like that. Fleetwood Mac songs were becoming #1. Everybody was going back to this comforting music.
Exactly. And it was just one of the, and so, but that's where that kind of came from. And now I'm looking at it more as like, okay, I've done it for 2 years. Let's assess. I want to grow my channel. I want to be on this platform for the next 5-10 years. What's going to make me happy to play all the time for that next 5 and 10 years? And that's going to be house and disco-y kind of vibes. And it crosses over with what I do as a DJ in real life too, which is more, I don't play progressive house anywhere in real life. Like, I'm never going to get booked to play a progressive house night opening for Sasha. That's never going to happen, but I kind of do play funk and disco house and that kind of stuff in my real life as well. So it's a lot of work to put together a whole show of new progressive house every week
That's
just for
true.
that 90 minutes, and then just goes in the crates, and then it's gone. Like, never see it again. Because
I know. It is funny coming back into the world, because I do this whole set in Vegas that I'm like, I wouldn't do this on Twitch. But really, after like a couple weeks ago in Vegas, I'm like, I should just do this set on Twitch. You know what I mean? Just see, because it's like I spent so much time preparing for this set and practicing for this and all that. And then I feel like this won't work on Twitch. But really, I'm so all over the place, it's hard for me to hone in. But how did you decide to just switch to the one? Was there any specific things that happened or feedback that you got?
No, I mean, it's just, I see, because I'm an open format DJ at heart, and always will be, I love so many different types of music, and if you gave me carte blanche, I would play a different set every time I streamed. I'd play, old school 1992 breakbeat hardcore one night, and then I'd do an indie set, like play Arctic Monkeys and stuff for the whole. I could play. That's me as a DJ. I'm a very open format DJ in my heart and in my soul. And that doesn't really work on Twitch. Like, you have to specialize a little bit. And my first love will always be house. That's my, that's what really, all varieties of house that's my jam, really. I love hip hop. I love all this other kind of music. But yeah, house is my thing. As a DJ, I think my body's natural resonant BPM is 125. Like, I feel good at 125 BPM. Everything feels right in the world. And it's so that, I was just like, I want to focus on one sound. And if
that would be an amazing image, like you clicking it to 125, and then the whole world just comes together and the light shines.
It happens though, mate. That's how it feels sometimes. Like with the progress stuff, I start off at like 122, and it's like, it's a bit sluggish, and I get up to like 128 sometimes at the end of the show. It's like, this is a bit much. 125 is like my happy place. That's right there in my happy place at 125, which is super weird. And it's funny when you DJ it, like, because I've never been a big practicer. I don't practice at home. I don't mix at home. But doing Twitch, where I'm in this controlled environment, you're more like aware of stuff that you're doing musically. I think. I don't know. I think that might be true. It certainly is for me. Because when you're in the crowd, you're rocking a live gig. You're watching the crowd. You're watching the bar staff. Are they having a good time? Is the mood right? Is the dance floor rotating properly and all this kind of stuff? And it's like But when you're in this kind of Twitch zone, you focus a little bit more on how the music makes you feel and how it feels to you. And I don't know, it's different from other kinds of DJing as well, I think.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So, I mean, in the beginning, a lot of streams, I'll be more tired than a normal DJ set. I don't know why. It's like, you're like so on for the camera or something, or like trying to keep track of so many things at once. Your brain is like, it's
a different kind of adrenaline. Yeah, definitely. There is something. It is. Because you are getting the feedback from the chatters. They are your crowd, but like, it's not the same as feeling that energy from the room and the energy of a big room, especially the kind of rooms you play. The energy there must be absolutely just incredible to feel that wave of energy coming from a dance floor that big, which I don't generally play stuff like that anymore, that big. My stuff's more kind of chilled vibes and older crowds.
Well, when it's packed, it is, but
these days,
when it's not packed, it's especially like, oh God, I have to just fill up this room with sound or something.
Well, that's even more tiring, though, right? I mean, that's the thing. There's a whole it's just a different thing being in your house, or in my case, in the studio. DJing is a very different experience from DJing in a real venue, and it's that controlled versus uncontrolled, and I love both still. I love to just be out there in the thick of it and working on slightly dodgy equipment or whatever, and trying to make stuff work, and the sound's not quite right, and that's all. But there's also a lot to be said for just DJing in this very controlled space, and it's all your space, and you can have your lighting the way you want, and you can have your sound the way you want, and all that. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah, totally. And people are making money. Like, I mean, I feel like there's places that want to pay DJs very low rates, especially in big cities where there's lots of DJs and lots of places. And, they're offering people just a couple $100, few $100, which nowadays doesn't go very far, especially if you're like all alone. So to see people able to actually make I watch some DJs make that much in a quick an hour or something, just a little hype train, and like they make some good money.
Yeah.
And they're doing a service.
It's not as good as it was. there's less money on there than there was because there's less
Yes.
people overall. But you still,
Of course.
by this point, a lot of us, myself included, have built up a nice community of people who are happy to support you. And,
Right.
So there's not maybe the amount of cash being flushed around that there was in 2020, but there's still enough to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
I think, and that's the thing. It's not nice to do, if you're good at the Joker in The Dark Knight, if you're good at something, never do it for free. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, that's true. Like you should, but you don't need. I'm not looking to earn a DJ wage for doing my Twitch stream, but it's nice to not do it for nothing. That's not. I've not made that much out of Twitch, but I've made enough to make it feel like I've not wasted my time. And like if I told my wife I'd done it for no money at all for the past 2 years, she'd be like, "What are you doing? Like, stop." So it's kind of there's enough there that I could justify what I'm doing, but
right. And it's something you want. I mean, you're talking about doing it for 10 more years and being on this platform. So obviously it's something that you see as something that could grow and you can grow with it. And like you mentioned before too, the metaverse and the community and all that. Yes, that's kind of a buzzword and everyone's using it for their own narrative, however they want to do it. But in reality, I agree. I feel like Twitch and all of this stuff is the beginnings of what the metaverse, will be and can be because we're making these digital clubs or lounges, like you're saying, and people around the world are able to experience this stuff that they had to go out before to do. So maybe it's the very beginnings, the 2D version of it, but eventually that will translate into it. And so everybody that's working on it now and getting to know it now will be in better shape, I think.
I'm not convinced that this, future utopia of everyone wearing VR goggles and 3D avatars.
No.
I personally don't think that's ever going to be a thing. But I think if you want what is a metaverse, Twitch is a metaverse right now. It is a universe of people that I can go and visit from all over the world, different times of day, different parts of the world, different styles, different things they do. There's cooking stuff, there's live musicians, there's gaming, there's so much sports stuff on Twitch. I mean, that I don't follow sports at all. It's not never has been my thing. But every time I log on, there's like the local, the Tottenham Hotspur official channel for soccer, that, and they've got like 2,000 people watching and stuff. And it's like, this is, we've moved what we're doing here into a new space, and it's a virtual space. Twitch is a virtual space. And so, forget about your little 3D avatars. This is the metaverse right now. This is happening, and it's so exciting. I hate to bang on about it, but I'm an evangelist. No. I love Twitch.
I agree.
I love it.
And I think that
people on it as well.
People are going to go as deep as they want to with the VR, with all of that. I feel like tech is just like anything else. Some people like going on the internet on their phone. Some people like going on their desktop. Some people want to do the VR thing. But I think that it's more about, having these initial metaverses or virtual places, and then it being able to interact with the other things that you like to do. So if people like to be on Twitter or Instagram or all these other apps that always have to be separate, hopefully it'll be a space where it all works together, and you can be on Twitch while you're doing another thing, and everything will seamlessly kind of go into each other. It won't be so separate, or I got to get my phone out and I have to connect Bluetooth and all that crap, hopefully that gets erased after a while. We've talked about Twitch for the whole beginning of the podcast, but we both love it.
Twitch and AM. I knew that's how this was going to go. I was like, we're just going to talk about AM and Twitch. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Well, I think I was trying to think of like us in real life if we had met, and I know that I hung out with you for a good maybe 22 seconds in front of the Beatsource office. You were hitting that vape pen that you're hitting right now.
Yeah.
And you were on your way to LAX, about to get an Uber, and I was pulling up to the Beatsource office, and I got to give you 5, say what up, and then you were out of there. But I think that's the only time we hung out, right? You weren't at...
It's the only time we've met. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's incredible. Well, good to see you in person.
I'm hoping to get back. I'm hoping to get back to the States this year now. I'm ready to get on a plane. talking about being ready for stuff. I'm ready to get on a plane. I mean, I know that air's good on a plane anyway, so you're pretty good on a plane regardless. But like, I'm ready now to start traveling again and start seeing people in meat space. I'm ready for that now, and it's like I can't wait because the last thing I did, the last bit of travel I did before the pandemic was NAMM. It was then.
That was when I saw you.
January 2020. That was, and then the world immediately locked down like as soon as I got home, pretty much. So that for me was that was the last time I left the country. It was the last time I went on a plane. Last time I've been in really good weather. It was it was so, and that was a great trip. I mean, I love going to the NAMM show and connecting with people there. For those who don't know, that's the big annual trade show for all the music companies and the DJ equipment companies and everything else. So I went there, filmed a load of stuff, and that was cool. It was that was the first time I'd really done LA like properly as well. Like been to the DJ City and Beatsource office and everything else. It's just so nice to connect with everybody in that way. And I do miss that human interaction with other people. So I can't wait to travel, man. I cannot wait to get out there again.
Yeah, as much as people love all the work from home and being at home, and it is great and the luxury of it, but there's something to be said about hanging out with people in person. We're human, we need that connection.
Yeah, I mean, I to be honest, I'm quite solitary. Like, I'm the only person who works in the studio.
And where are you right now? You have a separate studio from your house?
Yeah. This is the DJ City UK lab, or the Beatsource UK lab now, I guess we're going to switch it to. But yeah, this is the famed DJ City lab, and it's like a 10-minute drive from my house. So it's not far.
Okay.
But it is.
Got it.
Having a dedicated space to work is so important. That was one of the reasons I signed up with DJ City in the first place, was because they had an office in Newcastle, where I live. Because like DJ City UK was created by this guy DJ Play, who a lot of people might know on the scene. You've probably met Play now, but like there's a whole he started DJ City UK with Quickie and Phenom and the guys. Like he brought it to the UK, and he's Newcastle born and raised, so he lives here. Well, he doesn't now. He's moved to Dubai because he's a baller. He's living that Dubai.
He lives in Dubai now. That's crazy. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's just moved there now. Yes, he owns a Lamborghini. I don't know if he still does, but he's that kind of person. He's a baller. He's a straight up baller. He's a
that
baller.
DJ City money right there.
No kids there. No kids. I mean, that's his thing. Like he's
God,
like living that life.
Yeah, kids money. Yeah, exactly.
Looks pretty distant once you start having kids. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not going to get me a Lambo now.
People don't realize.
So it just happened that it happened to be, the office was like 5 miles from my house. And it was like serendipity. It was like, oh, wow, okay. Because prior to that, I'd been like freelancing for DJ Tech Tools and doing my own channel and stuff. And everything there, I had to get my garage. I had my garage, as you would say, and I had all my... So I that was like my home office was in there. And then to shoot a video, I had to take everything out of it, shoot the video, and then put everything back. So even that whole process was like a day just to set up the shoot and shoot a video and everything else. So having a dedicated space, and that was a different office. But now, this one, I'm the only one who works here, and it is just, it's like my little playground, my little man cave, where I can
amazing.
Everything's set up, ready to go. I have 4 cameras literally mounted up. I just turn them on and go, for the streaming side and for the shooting the videos. It's all just here. And it's so nice to have a dedicated space to work. It really does change what you do, I think, in a lot of ways.
I'm sure. And as far as like you were saying, a little bit more on the streaming side, but also, we'll pull that into the hardware and the series you do in the recording. I mean into the, YouTube stuff. What do you use? You were mentioning before we started, and I was like, I want to get a new streaming computer for the office. And you're like, that's old school. You got to do all hardware, ATEM, mini, all this stuff. So what do you use to stream and also to record? Is that what you use to record your YouTube videos as well?
No. It's similar stuff. I use all Panasonic cameras. all Micro Four Thirds Panasonic cameras, like mirrorless cameras. And so for filming, I have an Atomos Ninja V. It's like a little monitor and recorder. So I put SSDs into that and record in ProRes which makes editing super easy. There's no, because any computer can deal with ProRes. I'm using an old iMac for that, and it just edits it. It's like butter. It's like so nice. So I have decent quality cameras. I have GH5 and a GH5S. Those are like my video shooting cameras. But then I have, compatible with the same lenses, I have cheaper Panasonic cameras for the streaming, for the overhead. So I've got, I don't know if this one's set up properly. So I've got my overhead. That's the streaming overhead. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's because most of my audience on Twitch are all like DJ nerds like me. So we have the overhead streaming camera. And then I have another one ahead to the right of me there, which is like my front-facing camera for streams. Then I have another one overhead up there to my left. I've built like these frames over the top of the desks because overhead shots are so important to me with videos and for streaming. And they're all just wired up, permanent power supplies plugged in, so I can just walk in here and turn it on and go.
Right.
That's the whole thing for me. Yeah, that's transformative as well, 100%. Then I've got a GH5, which is, I use that on a slider, like a motorized slider, and a gimbal for motion control stuff. I don't use it as a gimbal. I just use it, like program it to like move up and down, left and right to get those like smooth B-roll movement shots.
And it does it by itself.
It just does it by itself, yeah. Cool. So that's, it just tracks it automatically. I love a bit of movement in what I do. And part of my goal with my videos over the past few years has been to really up that B-roll kind of game. Those shots where you're just looking at the product and stuff. I don't want to just have static shots. I want stuff that's moving, zooming in and out, going left and right, and just leveling up that kind of quality of shot. And I think I'm getting there with it. There's some more advanced robot toys that I could be buying. MKB HD kind of 150 grand, movement, motion control rigs and stuff. But like, I'm good. I'm working it out.
Yeah.
And then the streaming stuff I reviewed it on DJcityTV back in 2020. It's the Blackmagic A10 Mini Pro was the first. Right. I bought an A10 Mini, then I reviewed the A10 Mini Pro, and now I've got the A10 Mini Pro Extreme ISO, which is, it's a hardware streamer. So I use a computer, but only for overlaying stuff over the top of my HDMI. So they've got HDMI inputs, so I can feed in from any of these cameras through HDMI at any time. Just plug it all in. The one I'm using now has got 8 HDMI inputs. So I could run 8 cameras plus a video player plus OBS from another computer. And then the box itself, the A10 Mini, does the streaming. It's connected with an Ethernet port to the network, and I control it. When I change that there, now I'm just clicking with a mouse on the control software, but I normally have a Stream Deck set up controlling that. And it's just, again, I walk in and I could just press go on the box. And that's the thing for me. And I know.
And how do you enter the info on the box? Like, you have to hook it up USB to a computer and give it all
There's control software. It's all over the network. So it talks to everything over the network. And I can
it's wireless
from there. But yeah, well, no, it needs an Ethernet thing on it.
Oh, okay.
Goes all in through.
But when you're there, it's all
to it over the network.
Got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
And so it's all just networked together, and you can do so much with it. And to be fair, you can do perhaps even more stuff with OBS if you're like a graphics whiz.
In terms of overlays and all that.
Yeah,
right?
Like there's a lot of crazy stuff you can do with OBS. And those who do it on a different level, like people, I'm thinking of like Joshua Carl and people like that, these guys who just do incredible visual things and so many pop-ups and all this kind of stuff going on, and that's not me, because I suck at graphics. I mean, that's my whole thing, right? I can shoot a video, but graphics, overlays, all of that, like designing logos, and I suck at it fully. I appreciate my limitations in life, and that is one of my limitations. I have no design sense. You asked me to make a flyer for a night that I'm playing at. No chance. You do not want my flyer. You don't want it. It's going to look like some Microsoft Publisher thing from like 1997. You don't want it because it's going to look bad.
That's what's cool now.
Because I have I don't have a design sense, so I can't do it. So for me, my focus is on, because effectively these Blackmagic ATEMs, they're broadcast switches. That's what they are, right? It's the same
Right.
software that they use on the, $20,000 big ATEMs that they use for TV broadcasting and stuff, right? So
Yeah.
I approach it as a video guy. What can I do with video? Not what can I do with graphics. So if you're like super deep into graphics and stuff, maybe OBS might be a better way for you to go, because it's kind of tricky to get all that into the ATEM. But if you're looking at good quality cameras with decent lighting, then actually the ATEM is such a move. Like if you were to ever broadcast this show live, for example, an ATEM would be an absolutely perfect solution, because you could change camera angles with your Stream Deck. You can have them change automatically, as well. You can set up a timed loop so they just change automatically and stuff like that. Really easily.
I always wondered if you could do that.
Deep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was having that exact thought as you said. It was like, because I want to start streaming this show. I'm like, should we get the ATEM instead of a computer? And that's interesting, the automated switching. So you can automate the switching within the ATEM software.
Yeah, 100%. You just set it all up as like macros and stuff. It's not the most simple
Crazy.
thing to do in the world,
Yeah.
but it can be done. And you can green screen. So I have my OBS on a very old Mac Mini, like a 2012 Mac Mini that I've had since 2012. That runs my OBS. And my OBS, all my pop-ups and things, they're just on a green background. And I key them out on the ATEM. So I'm doing green screen with the ATEM for my OBS. So when my new follower thing pops up or whatever, that's on a green background. The ATEM keys that out. And so like I say, you could do the fancy graphic stuff with it, but ultimately it's a broadcasting tool. That's what it is, the ATEM.
And
so
where does
that's why it works for me.
Where does OBS live in like the chain of streaming? Like does the ATEM doesn't go into it, like you said, it goes straight.
No, OBS goes into the ATEM.
OBS goes into the ATEM.
Everything goes to the ATEM. I've got my Rodecaster Pro, that goes into the ATEM. My DJ mixer can go in there as well. It's got like 2-line inputs. I have graphics playing on a Blackmagic Hyperdeck, which is just like a video player. So I have visuals playing through that, and those I can like overlay and tweak a little bit, or I can just have it cut to them as part of one of my routine, my timed things that goes on. It's incredibly deep, but yeah, it's a different sensibility from OBS and from that kind of designer, computer, After Effects kind of guy. I mean, the other one who's really inspirational to me is John B, the drum and bass DJ. Have you seen any of his stuff? I fully recommend.
I don't know
haven't
his Twitch stream.
Yeah,
no,
he's
I haven't
on
seen
some
it.
different levels, man, with green screen. I mean, part of what kind of
gotta
pushed me
check it.
towards that ATEM thing is I don't want to do green screen. I haven't got time in my life to paint a wall in here green, or to be setting up a green screen backdrop all the time, because this is a video studio. Fundamentally, the reason this room exists is to make YouTube videos. Me being able to stream here is like a bonus factor. My priority in this room is always making YouTube videos, and I don't want a green screen for that. It wouldn't work for me. So I have to work within that parameter. If I could do a green screen, maybe I'd do more OBS kind of stuff, maybe. But ultimately, I like the way that the ATEM works. It suits my style and my sensibilities. And it costs, the ATEM Mini Pro with 4 inputs, that one costs like $600. And you can use it with any old computer. It doesn't matter what computer you've got. And that does the streaming for you. So compare that with a high-end OBS capable PC. What are you talking about? $2,000? You know what I mean? For a decent starter gaming PC with loads of graphics run on it, So for me,
and you need the video card and the camera and
you need capture cards and stuff as well. If you haven't got those, I mean, that's the thing. I'm currently plugged in because we're using Ecamm for this recording of this podcast. I'm feeding out a USB from the ATEM into Ecamm. So it's appearing to the computer like a regular webcam, but I could plug 8 different cameras into this and switch between them in 1080p at the drop, the push of a button, and it's just appearing to this Ecamm as a webcam.
And the vocals are
Zoom
synced
calls
up perfectly too. Yeah, because it's just
audio
a source
delay on it. Yeah, it's just a source.
And there's no delay. There's no delay with the audio because it's just a hardware piece.
Well, no, I mean, there is, but they've got tools in there there is an audio delay you can apply. And unlike OBS where you have to do all like the 420 milliseconds, the whatever else, you've just got a little dial. You can dial it in. There's like 10 steps on the dial and you can just dial it in. So
so much
I've
better.
literally, yeah, it just so suits the way that I work, and I can't imagine going a different way with it because I don't want to buy a $2,000 streaming computer. I don't want to do it. Like, I've just bought an M1 Mac Mini. After the Apple keynote the other day, I was waiting to see if they refreshed.
What, you bought the Mac Studio or the Mini?
No. I bought immediately after that keynote. I was like, well, I'm not going to buy a Studio for $2,000.
Right.
I wanted an M1 chip because all of the DJ software now needs to work on the M1s, and I don't own any M1 chips at all. And I was like, I need to be testing Serato stuff, record box stuff, tractors, whatever else on these computers. I have a lovely MacBook Pro that I use for video stuff. I have a PC laptop that I use for DJing. I don't want to spend $2,000 on a Studio, so I just bought the like a low end M1 Mac Mini refurbished as well. Got a good price on it.
Nice.
So I'm literally trying that out now at the moment. It's cool. It's super quiet, super fast. Doesn't have a headphone jack, which is why I have to use the Bluetooth headphones, which is quite annoying because they always used to have a headphone jack and now they don't.
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I think
loads of ports.
they probably figure you use it with a monitor and that might have it, or I wonder why. That's weird.
I don't know, but I do like the Mac Mini. It's a cool little computer. Like, if anyone wants a desktop machine, I don't think you can go wrong with a Mac Mini. I really don't, because you get a decent monitor for a couple of $100 and you've got yourself a lovely little desktop. I think it's really good. As I say, I still have a 2012 one running my stream stuff. You know, and that thing's 10 years old now. It's still kicking. Imagine a 10-year-old computer still doing the business. Like, that's crazy to me. That's why I was always a Mac person. For such. I'm curious. What was the first computer that you used with Serato?
I think it was a Mac. It was a MacBook Pro, probably, because I was a PC guy like forever, and I would use SoundForge, and I would produce, music using like samplers and keyboards. So I had like a Korg Triton and a MPC, a Kai MPC 2000, and all that stuff. And then I would use like an 8, sound card and go into a PC, and I would use Cubase to produce, do all that stuff. I'd use SoundForge to do the editing and all that. And then I remember, what was it? Final Scratch came out, and but yeah, I guess it must have been a MacBook Pro. I think I bought a computer in order to be able to use either Final Scratch or Serato. I don't even totally remember.
Okay, so let me tell you about mine, right? Because I have quite a storied history with, like, around sort of like 2003, 2000, that kind of period. I used to live in London in a shared house with loads of, with like five other people. And my best friend also lived in that house, and we used to DJ together. And he was a proper tech nerd, like a full-on tech. We had like 2 meg ADSL line in the house when everyone else had like dial-up still. I mean, we had the hardcore, like, he was the guy, right? He knew the tech.
Amazing.
So he was deep into that. So we got like Traktor before it had any kind of vinyl control. We had Final Scratch 1. Then he got Final Scratch 2. We had Miss Pinky, which no one even remembers anymore. That was like an open source kind of one. It was weird, but like came with like pink vinyl. It was half pink and half grey. So yeah, we had all of these things. And then I moved up to Newcastle around 2005, and I started DJing with a computer. And I started off, I was using Traktor. I think it was Traktor 3 at the time, was the current. Now it's like Traktor Pro 3. It's like so far, it's gone round again. But like, yeah, Traktor, and I was using a computer keyboard, like a regular plastic PC keyboard. Yeah. And I had one of those, and I would take out loads of keys from it, and I would put stickers on the other keys, so like pitch up, pitch down, play cue, and all of that, and like write little labels on it with a marker. And that's but the computer that I did that with, and this computer then I carried on using until like 2007. I bought at the time I was like, I can't really afford a Mac, or I don't want to spend all that money on a Mac and take it out to gigs, because then taking a laptop out to a gig was like you were brave, man, in those days.
Oh, I know.
And I didn't want to buy a Windows machine that I didn't know if it was going to be any good, and I didn't know if I could trust it. I bought a Shuttle PC. Do you remember those? Like a cuboid Shuttle PC. I used to take my Shuttle PC and a 15-inch flat screen monitor and a mouse and a keyboard to every gig, like bar gigs. bar
That's
gig on a
amazing.
Tuesday night. I'm rocking in there, setting up my shuttle PC with my monitor cable and my mouse and keyboard, wired mouse and keyboard, and like my custom keyboard with all the bits taken out. So yeah, I was rocking a shuttle PC, and I rocked that thing
incredible.
for like 2 years, at least 2 years. And then eventually I went back to university as a mature student, and then I got the student discount with the Mac. So I was like, finally, now's the time. And I bought myself the white plastic MacBook, that 2007 white plastic one. And then I didn't look back. But yeah, for 2 years, I was that guy with the 15-inch flat screen. You have any idea how hard it is to find a DJ bag that will fit a 15-inch monitor in it? That's a challenge.
You need a box at that point.
I managed. Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah, so,
oh my God.
Yeah. So even in my early days of Serato, probably like the first year of using Serato, I was taking this shuttle PC along with my SL1 and like plugging into turntables and stuff. And it was like, I don't know where that was the stupidest thing I've ever done as a DJ. Like,
I mean, that's just like, as DJs, we just did what we had to do. We were like, we're carrying all this shit. Like, I would have to buy a new car just to be able to fit all the speakers, and it was. I mean, by
comparing it with carrying vinyl, it's not actually that bad. The 15-inch monitor sounds like a really dumb thing to carry, but I used to carry like 4 boxes of vinyl to the gig. So
that's why. Rationally, we're probably like. It makes sense. I remember seeing Tom LaRock, this DJ in Miami, and I came in and I'm like, is that your computer? And he's like, yeah. And it was like the biggest iMac you could get. And he just like would carry it around, the whole iMac with the wired mouse and everything. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, just bring this around. Like, wow, that's serious. She just put straps on the iMac and it's just like walk around with it.
Oh my God.
That's amazing. And your YouTube videos, I mean, a lot of people probably don't even know your whole background in DJing. We've just, talked about it so much and all, all the stuff you do on Twitch, but I mean, a massive thing that people know you for in the DJ community and in the whole world are your YouTube videos, right? For tech and everything, I mean, I think you're one of the go-to. If anything comes out, you're my go-to person that I'm going to go first and hear what you have to say about it. I trust what you have to say. You're very clear and concise. Even in a long video, you're still making sure just the important parts are in there. And I feel like you're very unbiased but honest and not afraid to say what you have to say. And, they're just great. And the quality of them just continuously improves, and you can tell that you care about them, and they're just great. So thank you for doing it over the years. Yeah.
Thank you. No, on the unbiased thing, I'm a fanboy for dope new DJ technology. Like I fanboy about everything. It doesn't matter who makes it. I fanboy over all the dope new stuff, and it's my job to highlight the good things about this new tech that we all get to work with now, because it is incredible, the stuff that we, when you think back, even 10 years
amazing.
ago, the quality of equipment, the stuff you can do with what we have now is incredible. But, it's my job also to point out the flaws in things, not with the aim of like, attacking the people who make it, but with the idea that next time they can make it a bit better, and I do appreciate not everything works for me. Something that doesn't work for me might work for someone else. Like, I'm not a fan of virtual DJ. I just can't. Like, in my last video, I was talking about stuff to do when you get back to the booth, and someone put in the comments, you talked about Tractor and Record Box and Serato, but you didn't mention virtual DJ. I don't use virtual DJ. It doesn't work for me. I do appreciate there are thousands of DJs around the planet who use virtual DJ and love it all the time, and it really works for them as DJs, and I totally respect virtual DJ for what it is. I just don't use it. It doesn't really fit my workflow. So it's just one of those things where I have to put myself in the mind of, like, if I'm reviewing a beginner product, for example, I have to think, if I was starting out DJing today, would I want to start on this? What would be uncomfortable about this? What wouldn't work for me and everything else? So it's putting yourself into the mindset of different people who might be watching and trying to understand these different perspectives. And I find that quite valuable as well, to have that perspective of other people and to hear other people's comments on stuff. And that's why all of us DJ YouTubers all watch each other as well. Right. Like Cleveland Terry and Nick Spinelli and everyone, I value their opinions as much as I do my own, because they come from different places and different perspectives. And it's, people think like we all got beef or something, but we're all friends. Like, all of us, we're all friends. We're all homies. We're all tight. Digital DJ Tips, Crossfader, all those guys. We're all just tight because we all approach things in a different way to each other.
It's very true.
I find value in their content as well. And that's something that's kind of missing from a lot of the time from DJing. I think, it seems a bit cutthroat in some markets and stuff. And it's like, that's not the way things should be at all. It should be that we're all just growing together. And that's what it's all about. And
I think you're right,
as they say,
Yes, the rising tide lifts all boats. Yeah, exactly. Like you guys are all in the same game, and you all have different perspectives. Like you said, I go and watch all the other people you named, Cleveland Terry and Nick Spinelli and Digital DJ Tips, because they'll all have a different take on it and their own sort of, oh, well, you could use it for this, or, point out things maybe someone else forgot. But so how, I guess, how did that start? Like how did you make your first video, or how did you think to start doing that and posting that?
Well, see, what happened was you don't really know about me as a DJ because I was not a successful DJ. I've never been I've been a working DJ, like a long time.
Well, that's pretty successful right there.
No, yeah, well, exactly. But I was never a known DJ around, I wasn't like notable or, had any kind of fame or anything like that. I was a working DJ. I was in the trenches. There was a good 5-year period where I was a full-time DJ. That's all I did. And that was my job. And it was great. I loved it, right? It was brilliant. And it was, clubs locally, all pretty much in the same city, where I live, Newcastle. It was like clubs, bars. Right. I was DJing 4-5 nights a week, earning a pretty good wage, earning a good living. And it was great. But I got to like approaching 40, and my daughter was born. This is around 2011. My daughter was born, and I started to realize I can't do this forever. Like at that time, I was still really enjoying what I did. And it was before bottle service and stuff really came through. That kind of killed mainstream for me. Was bottle service, but that's a different topic. But so I was still really enjoying it. But at the same time, I was working for the same venues or the same chain of venues a lot of the time. And I was like, if I fall out with this general manager of this place, I'm down 2 nights a week. If I fall out with the area manager, I'm down 4 nights a week. Like I'm basically broke at that point. And it was like, I need something. I have a family now. I need something a bit more stable, a bit more reliable. And so I went back and did this university course. It was media production. So I knew my way around, editing software and stuff. I mean, we learned on Avid, and then literally the second I finished my university course, they changed everything to Final Cut, and then so everything I'd learned was immediately out of date. But but the basics, the fundamentals are there. And I just thought, what can I do? And I thought, well, I'm not bad on camera. I'm confident on camera. I can, even at that point, I was like, I'm confident doing camera, it's not a problem.
Right.
And I know about this tech stuff because I've always been a DJ tech nerd. When I was a teenager, I'd go straight to the back section of DJ Magazine and like look at the tech section and go look at all the adverts. And that was like, I was always a tech nerd. So I was like, I'll do that. And I used to work for a mail order retailer, Dex.co.uk, back in when I lived in London. Still had friends there at that time. Sadly, that's now defunct, but RIP Dex.co.uk. And they sent me through this new tractor controller thing that had just come out, and I did a little demo video, shot it on my phone. iPhone, probably a 3GS at that point, I should think, or something like that. It was wow, crazy. And then just started doing stuff from there and doing little walkthroughs of products. And I've got some coverage from DJ Works, so big up to DJ Works. Mark over there gave me my first kind of bit of coverage on his page, which brought people to that video, or the next video, I think it was. I did a review of DJ on the iPad, and it just kind of went from, and then started reaching out to people in the industry, and gradually just built it up organically a fair bit. And then, DJ Tech Tools came along, and I don't know if I asked them or if they came to me. I think I probably asked them if they needed anyone to make videos. And so I started doing freelance for them for about a year. So it was a year of doing my own stuff, then a year of DJ Tech Tools, and then DJ City came knocking, and Styles came, and that was it then. I was DJ City ever since. So 2015.
Wow.
2015 was the beginning of 2015. So it's been 7 years now with DJ City. Amazing. 300 and something videos. And
Incredible.
yeah, and I just found it natural, and I was learning and copying from guys like Digital DJ Tips at that point. And I always have to pay tribute to Kareem from DJBooth.net. He was out there doing those videos back in those days as well. He was a big inspiration. He's just given up doing the videos now. He's a engineer, IT engineer or something. So he's probably making bank doing that instead. So he's given up the YouTube. But like, yeah, it's always there were some good channels then. And DJ Tech Tools as well was cool then as well. But yeah, to have done so much now with DJ City and now rebranded it to Beatsource and just to kind of freshen it up, you know. Because
now it's gone from
for 7 years.
I know. Crazy.
It's wild.
It didn't feel stale at all, though. I mean, the cool thing is that you were constantly bringing out new, exciting, innovative products and talking about them and the details of it. So I don't think people are focused on like, damn, he has the same graphic. But I do think it looks amazing now.
Yeah. There is always new stuff to talk about, but like I say, I'm not a graphics guy. I couldn't do that myself. And now we're working with this like bigger team at Beatsource, and we've got access to a lot of new and different kind of resources that I can call upon to get, you know, new graphics and stuff. And I don't feel like I'm putting someone out, you know, by asking for this kind of stuff. It's a much bigger team that we're dealing with. So I just thought, yeah, this is the opportunity. And Beatsource, you know, DJ City's not going away. Don't get me wrong, that's not going away anytime soon. But like for me, Beatsource does feel like the future, and it's a tech show. So I naturally, if I'm going to do any kind of rebrand, now is the time. Let's rebrand it to Beatsource. That's how I looked at it. So that was the start of this year that we did that. And then the first video was the Rev 7 review, which obviously I knew was going to do big numbers. I had that early on. So I knew it. We kind of planned it around that, you know, to drop at the same time. And it was just like, yeah, now's the time. We're going to move forward 2022. New look, new graphics, slight tweak to the format a little bit, not too much because, you know, I was kind of happy with what I was doing. And you know,
if it's not broken, evolving, don't fix it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, I think it looks great. And now it's called Beatsource Tech and Beatsource Basics, right? Is there two?
Yeah, so there's two different shows, basically. Beatsource Tech is always going to be the nerdy stuff, the reviews and so on, which I really am into. And then Beatsource Basics is more about tips. Because the irony is, of course, that, you know, DJ City Tips and Tricks was what it was called. I probably, out of 300 videos, I probably only did about 30 that had any kind of tips and tricks in them. Because that's not it's not where I feel most comfortable, to be honest.
Right,
my happy place is like 125 BPM and talking about a new DJ controller. That's my happy place. Talking about a DJ controller at 125 BPM, I'm there. I'm good. So like that was, but I want to do Beatsource Basics. I do want to, because apart from anything else, I think with Beatsource, we are reaching out to a slightly different audience than we were. You know, like DJ City was always about no one who's not a professional DJ is subscribed to DJ City.
Yes.
Nobody. Like that's not even allowed. Like you can't do that, right? So like, you know, the whole thing was now with Beatsource, we're speaking to a bigger audience. And it was like, yeah, let's get some slightly more fundamentals talked about. And I feel more comfortable because that was always my thing. If I'm speaking to professional working DJs, how are you going to give tips to a professional working DJ? Like, that's a challenging thing. And I managed to come up with a few over the years. And there are some things that are really important for everybody, like backing up your music and things like that, which everyone needs to know about, you know, whatever level of DJ you are. But yeah, there are some things where I just felt I'm like teaching your granny to suck eggs here. I can't do this kind of tutorial, and so I kind of shied away from it, and I didn't want to do it. So now with Beatsource Basics, I'm going to do an episode about XLR cables and RCA cables and what's the difference, that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Which is a fundamental. Not every working DJ is familiar with that stuff necessarily, and it's good to get a refresh. I've been researching that one, and it's like, oh, there's stuff I didn't know that I've learned from it. And that's the beauty of what I do is I'm always learning myself. Like my latest thing is I'm super obsessed with lighting now, like DMX and sound switch and stuff. Never could care less about lighting before in my whole career. Never did, even though I started out as a mobile DJ way back in the day. But like I was never a lighting guy, and now I'm obsessed with it. I'm surrounded by lights in here right now. I've got dozens of
Is that
lights
because
here.
of your Twitch, you think?
You know. Yeah, it kind of was. But also it was because I was playing with that sound switch, which does synchronize your lights to your Serato or to whatever else. And it was like, I've now started taking lights out to gigs. Like if I'm doing all night at a spot, and I'm generally that kind of DJ. I'm an open till close kind of DJ. I feel most comfortable doing that in a venue. I'd rather open and close the whole night. Because then I've got control of that room from start to finish. You know, I know a lot of people watching this or listening to this will feel the same, right? You've got that control of the room. You haven't got to worry about someone else. So if I'm doing a 5-hour set or whatever, yeah, I'll throw a couple of uplights in the bag and then synchronize them up, put them in the booth behind me, and it looks super dope. And like no one else is doing that. So that's true. It's kind of stupid, but it's kind of cool at the same time. So yeah, I don't know. But I didn't know about DMX and all this kind of stuff. It's like a different world, and now I'm learning about that. I love to learn new things all the time, and so my new thing is I'm learning about lighting right now, and I think I'm getting a handle on it. So it's like, whatever you do in life, whatever your passions are, you have to keep learning and evolving your skills and your knowledge in that area. Otherwise, you just stand still, and who wants to stand still? You know, not me.
No, I agree. I think that's like a running thing on this podcast. Everybody has some variation of that, and I think that, and everybody that comes on is like someone that's passionate about all of this, and I think that's why, you know, keeping the curiosity. And the lighting thing, same. I've never understood or been that interested in it, but I want to learn. I would watch your tips and tricks on it, and this podcast too. I get to learn from people. You know, even things you've said today. I'm like, I'm going back and writing this down, looking up the cameras, and I want to learn more about, you know, all that sound switch, DMX.
Well, that's why I'm so happy that shows like yours exist. You know, and there are so many podcasts and things for DJs now. For a long time, there weren't. You know, every DJ tried to do a podcast and they tried to do a music one, and it either got blocked by Apple or it just like fizzled out after 2 episodes. And like there is a good solid contingent around the internet of good DJ spoken content where people open up about all aspects of DJing. And for me, as someone who's always trying to learn, that is wonderful. I get so much out of interviews of yours that I watch. You know, and other shows too, like The Road and like the 5x5 guys. I was on their podcast recently and stuff as well.
Yeah,
Nick Spinelli's thing and Cleveland Terry, like all these talk things. I want to hear about, you know, because DJing and music is my obsession. That's what I'm obsessed. You know, if you were to ask me what's my other hobby, I don't have another hobby. This is it. Like my job is my hobby. I love what I do. I love music and DJing, and so I just want to hear about it all the time.
Yeah, it's true. I'm in the exact same boat. Yeah, I feel the same. And same, sometimes people think, oh, like, I don't know if they think we have beef with other podcasts, but that, oh, they're separate, or you're like this, or these people are better or worse. It's like, they're all
like the
different. I love to exactly. It's the same thing. Yeah. Like I love to hear Road. I love to hear all the different podcasts. I was listening to Nick Spinelli's. I like to hear everybody's perspective and what they're saying, and it's the same thing. My hobby is DJing as well as my life, which I don't know if that's healthy or not, but I end up being constant. You know, that's why Twitch was so huge, especially during the height of the pandemic. I was like obsessed because I'm like, I'm watching everybody, I'm listening, you know, and all this stuff. So same kind of thing. And you know, I'm glad that you've updated the shows, and like you said, like you know, we were talking about it earlier. It's not just like a plug for Beatsource. Like I would sign up for Beatsource link and Beatport link and stuff, even if I wasn't doing the show or associated with them, because I just love new technology, having the ability to bring new things into my world and my library. And some people say to me, oh, I don't know if I could switch over. And I'm like, I didn't switch over. I just click Beatsource on or Beatport on, and it's a massive, amazing thing in my library, even if it's just for research to see what's on the 20 playlist or what's on the hip hop playlist. And then I go to Vegas and I do my own set from it and don't use it. Or sometimes I do use it, but I can, you know, it's like a chef with like a whole new like thing that in their kitchen or something. Like I have a new tool.
For me, I mean, I can honestly say, hand on my heart, if I didn't work for Beatsource, I would pay for Beatsource and Beatport Link, both every month. Well, just sign me up straight away. I'd be there because it has transformed the way that I DJ. I mean, one of my things with Twitch, above everything else, you know, when I play live in real life, I play for older crowds now. I'm playing a lot of classics, old school, you know, vibes a lot of the time. But when I'm on Twitch, it's all about new music. All about new music. I'm all about brand new tunes. I try not to repeat myself on streams at all, if I can help it.
Wow.
Like you know, if you hear me 1 week to the next, you won't hear two of the same, you know, the same record twice. No way.
Right.
It like my progress show is all brand new releases. Everything that I play on that show has been released in the past 7 days. You know,
Oh,
and
wow,
like
that's
I started off
crazy.
doing that show pre-Beatport Link, and that was costing me like $40-50 a show just to get the tunes for each show, because it was
Wow.
all brand new. Now I get it all on Beatport Link, Beatsource Link for the, you know, there's so much, like, you have to dig for it, but there's so much like soulful house and funky house, quantized recordings and stuff on there. It's wonderful. And for my real life gigs, that's where Beatsource really comes in, because we've got, like, there's certain genres that I didn't really know that much about, like yacht rock, for example. Yacht rock was never really a term here in the UK. Like, it was, you know, we had a lot of the records, but it was never like a collective term. Yacht rock was, you know, just wasn't so much a thing. So I'm going in the yacht rock playlist, and I'm playing that on my food spot gigs and living the dream with that stuff, because it's like, oh, I know these records, but they're recontextualizing this yacht rock thing all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And so for me, as someone who loves so much music, to have access to all of the music is life-changing to me. And, you know, the offline locker, I mean, that is still essential. A lot of the gigs that I play don't have good Wi-Fi. There's a couple that do, and I'm just like logged in and we're all good. There's a couple where I don't have Wi-Fi at all. So 1,000 tracks offline, that's enough for me for any gig that I do. 1,000 tracks. And that, like you say, it's in conjunction with your existing collection. Because all of us as DJs, whatever level you're at, you've got your secret weapons. We all got our little secret weapons in there.
Of course.
We've got some random, like, Seraphim remix from 2010 that we still keep in the back pocket ready to drop. Or, you know, I've got, like, a DJ from when Crooklyn Clan was a thing back in the day. You know, we've all got a few things from the Bloghouse times. That sneaky, like, free download that you got off SoundCloud and it disappeared straight after. We've all got all these tracks in our library, and these secret weapons, you know, especially when you get to be an older kind of DJ, you've got those in there. And I'm never going to give those up. They're still there. You just play them alongside the other stuff, whether it's brand new releases or whether it's stuff that you're discovering for the first time. You know, and I'll be honest, I'll put my hands up. I was late to Spotify. Like, I was one of those DJs. I was like, I've got my collection. I got my MP3s that I've transferred with using iTunes to my phone. I don't need this Spotify nonsense. I don't need this. And then it took me a couple of years, and I was like, oh, I can have all the music. And it's just like
too good to be true.
It takes a minute. It takes a minute to get your head around it. It really does. And like, once you get your head around it,
you're right.
It blows me away. Like, I love having access, because you know, to be honest, like, I'm so blessed now. Like, for many years, I couldn't get any promo mailing list stuff, you know, vinyl, CDs, or, you know, even MP3s for a long time. I'm pretty blessed now. I get sent a lot of stuff. I probably get like 40 or 50 promos a week these days, you know, and a lot of it is, you know, because it's housey stuff, which is generally quite promoted quite heavily to DJs and stuff. So I'm blessed to get that, and I love it. I find myself barely logging into like In-Flight and Fat Drop and stuff to get these promos, because
I know, same.
I just get it off Beatport or Beatsource Link. It's just like, I can't, you know, it's easier to go on there and get it than it is to go on and download through the thing, and it goes in your Dropbox and you have to tag it and all this. Like, I half the time now I just don't bother. I'll just like wait till it comes out and get it on Link instead. And it's like,
or
you know,
just having those curated, like, I don't, you know, don't do that many weddings, but, or if I have to do specific things, like, yo, Nick Spinelli just put together all those wedding playlists, or there's different people, D. James, you know, that are experts in their field that you can trust.
I mean, this is my thing now, is I'm not like a mainstream bottle service kind of DJ anymore. I did that, you know, quite a bit of that, and I was very, you know, I've always been an open format mainstream kind of guy. But now I don't do that kind of spot. I'm playing food spots, chilled out vibes, older crowds. But sometimes, if I'm on my travels or if I'm covering for a friend or something, I need to go and do a bottle service bougie kind of spot. I have not got a clue what to play anymore. I don't know what's popping. I don't know about your Cardi B's and your whatevers. I don't know about any of that, man. I've not got a clue. But I know I can log on to Beatsource and hit up the playlist and get that in my library and offline locker, and I'm good. Afrobeats, like, Afrobeats is so big in the UK. It's the biggest sound right now. I know nothing about Afrobeats. I'm not going to pretend like I know about Afrobeats, but D. James knows about Afrobeats, so I'm good, because I've got his playlist in my Serato. I'm good. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's liberating. It's just you have to switch your mind into that mindset of I have access to all of this stuff, and that's where once it switches, it switches in you, and you can't go back. I couldn't go back to not having it. Like I'm proud of my collection. I have a great collection of music. I'm very happy with with what I've accumulated over the years. All my files, 45s and stuff. I've got a great 45 collection.
Of course,
still play 45 sets a fair amount when I play out, which is great. But there's no way I would go back to this pre-Link life where I didn't have access to this stuff anymore. It would be bizarre to me now at this point. And I just think, a lot of DJs are going to take a long time to get their head around it. DJs took a long time to get around CDJs and then getting around the laptop thing and Serato. DJs are reticent to move with the times with this technology. And I think it's the younger generation who are going to come through and actually, because they've grown, like my kids have grown up knowing nothing but Spotify. That's all they know. Like they see all these weird like black discs around in the house, like daddy's vinyl collection. They don't want to play with that. They log on an iPad and they're listening on Spotify because that's what they know. True. So the next generation, they don't care. They're going to be straight on streaming all the time because it'll just be like water for them.
How old are your kids?
11 or just almost 11 and 6.
Okay.
So
I mean,
like my daughter, I bought my first iPad a couple of months after my daughter was born in 2011. Like that was my first iPad. I got the iPad too. So she has grown up in a world where there's been an iPad, there's been a tablet in her life.
It's so true.
Since
my
she
son
was a
too.
Tiny baby, and
same kind of thing. And like you said, that there's like, or in my son's class, like I'll have other dads, like my kid has this controller, but how do I get the music onto it? And I'll be like, well. And they're like, can you hook me up? And I'm like, no, I mean, I technically could, but really you just sign up for a service, and that's when I can show them. Because if I was a father of someone that wanted to become a DJ, you don't want to buy, here's $50, go get this many songs. Like just sign up for a service that they have access to everything.
4 records from the store.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my God. Imagine those days.
Yeah. Exactly. You're sort of catering to another world of DJs, as well as giving the opportunity for the more established DJs to figure out a way to utilize this new technology. And it's run by DJs, so I think people are the people that are running it are constantly figuring out, okay, this would be better. We can improve the search like this. We can improve the playlisting like this. Or, there are obviously things that need to be worked on and that are being worked on and have improved so much over the past year or 6 months and, are getting better all the time.
I mean, that was kind of the big thing for me was like, I rather infamously reviewed Pulse Locker back in the day. Remember Pulse Locker?
Oh, yeah, I had it,
I'm pretty sure I played quite a big role in them dying. I'm sorry to say, but this Beatsource Link technology is fundamentally the same technology, right? So it's, offline locker and all of that, right? Which other services aren't. They can't have that. And like the problem with Pulse Locker was not the technology. I was impressed by the technology. What the problem was that you could tell that no one involved in running that service was a DJ and knew what DJs needed.
Exactly.
And that's the problem. Like if you don't have that as a fundamental of your service, doesn't matter how good the technology is. If the people there don't understand what DJs need, it's a waste of time. It's never going to work, And so there were so many things when we began the Beatsource project and when it came through, I was putting my hand up in the meeting to say, Pulse Locker used to do this. We can't do that. We need to not do that. And all of this stuff. And we don't do a lot of the things that annoyed me about what Pulse Locker did and the way that their catalog was and all of these issues around it. We made very sure that we don't do that at Beatsource. We do things as a DJ needs them to be done because everyone who works there pretty much is a DJ. Like that's just the nature of it, as it's always been with DJ City before it. Nearly, I don't think there's anyone who's not a DJ. Like Anthony, maybe he's not a DJ. Like he's like the only guy. Like everyone else.
Right, but even he understands and
but
probably
he knows the DJ. He's been in it in a long time, But like, everyone everyone who works there it understands what DJing is, and that's the crucial thing when you've got a team like that who know what the culture is and how important the culture is and how things should work. And so that's why I think Beatsource fundamentally does work. It's honestly, as I say, I would pay for both services every month without any complaint whatsoever. If I couldn't get them as part of my job, I would pay for both in a heartbeat, and I wouldn't want to go back. DJing without them now there would be like losing a big part of what I do. So yeah, that change has come over the past, since it was around like I think mid 2020, I think. And I started to really get in my head. It took me a minute to really get it into my workflow. And that's the thing, you're changing up everything you do. It's like going from vinyl to buying CDs, and then you're going from buying CDs to burning CDs. And it's like, how do you mark your CDs? Do you like print off labels, or are you a Sharpie guy, just writes random stuff? I was a random stuff with the Sharpie kind of guy. Like, oh, it's that one with the star on it. That's that track. Just throw that in. There's track 7 on there, that kind of stuff. Everyone's got their own way of working with it, and it takes a while to incorporate any new tech into your life and make it work for you. But if you the rewards are there if you put in the effort. They're definitely there, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. But I have noticed, like we spoke earlier, that the couple DJs that have come on recently were talking to me about using USB sticks and record box, and that sort of plays into what you were saying about open format DJs sometimes being late to the party with a lot of stuff, because it's funny now, a lot of open format DJs are like, yo, bro, I'm on USB sticks. And like other DJs had been on it forever, and it's been a thing. And now we're all telling each other, like, it's really cool, man. You can put a USB stick in the CDJ. And other people are like, I've been doing this for 8 years. What are you talking about? But why do you think that's becoming a popular thing, I think, among people that maybe were used to using Serato?
Well, I think the hardware has got better.
Yeah, that's
without a doubt. I mean, I actually went through a phase. I had Serato for many years. I had a couple of years on Traktor because A-Track and Craze were using it at the time, and I wanted to try out what they were using. And so I had a couple of years on Traktor, and then I bought some CDJ 2000 Nexus players, and I bought them full price, and I used pretty much nothing but those for about 2 or 3 years after. In fact, probably longer than that. That was my main platform. So I was just playing off a USB stick, or rather, in my case, SD card, because that's the pro tip. Okay. SD cards are the way forward, because no one can steal them out the top. USB stick, someone could just walk past and rip it out. SD card, you have to open the little door, and it's all the whole thing. So SD card is the way forward.
That's true.
I used to have a
How come? Why is USB the standard, though? It seems like no one does the SD.
Not every player has an SD card slot. Only the 2000s and 3000s. So if you have like XDJ 1000s or something, they don't have an SD card slot. And it's just that people don't really know that it's an option, I think, a lot of the time. They don't understand why you'd want to use it. But it's just as fast.
It's easier. Faster, not that a USB. Yeah, and not that a USB is so huge to carry around, but the SD card's even easier. You're just like put it in your wallet.
So I had a 256 gig SD card, and I did all my gigs open format fully with those. I had like 10,000 tracks on there, which is a lot of tracks. Like that's plenty for me.
Yeah.
And I found it. What Politic was saying about it. It does kind of feel like it seems like topsy-turvy, like it's on its head, but actually it does feel more like a pure way of DJing. Because even though I had 10,000 tracks on that stick, each playlist on Rekordbox, and I think it's still true today, can only hold 1,000 tracks. So there's none of your like Serato playlist with or Serato crate with like 5,000 tracks in it.
Oh, okay.
You've got 1,000 tracks at the most. And so I had my like main club, open format club banger folder or my playlist. And every time I wanted to put a new track into that, because I got up to 1,000, I had to take stuff out. And it's like your record crate again. It's like going back to your record crate. It's like, I've got these new records I need to put in this crate.
Pull these out.
Fit them in. I need to take a couple of ones out that I don't play very much. And it really encourages you to be very kind of precise, with how you work with your music. And so for me, that was a big part of it. And there is the thing, if you're not looking at a screen and, you're looking down at the hardware to control what you're doing. So you're looking like you used to look at a record to see where the timing is and the little darker bits and the grooves and stuff. So in many ways, it does feel like a more kind of pure way of DJing, which it sounds ironic and it sounds wrong, but it kind of feels like that sometimes, even though you don't have a spinning platter and all this. Like, it's a very precise and a very kind of pure experience, and I did love it. I mean, right now I don't really play off USB or SD card at all because I am using Beatsource Link and I use my offline locker, so I tend to hook up Rekordbox in performance mode and just use that with the CDJs, or Serato with HID, or whatever else, depending on the hardware that I'm using.
Right.
So, but I certainly see the appeal of that, and I do really hope that Pioneer DJ get in the 3000s, they get, you know, Link streaming in there at some point, because they've actually done that already. You can access Dropbox from it now. They've actually put this tech is in the players now in the 3000s. You can access, like, if they call it the cloud library. So there's no reason why you couldn't access your Link library too. So, like, I think, fingers crossed, and come on, Pioneer DJ, make it happen, please. I want to see that in the players, because the Denon players can already do the streaming, and they're super dope players, but you don't find that, you know, you don't obviously find them in as many venues and stuff. And I'm too old to carry around players. I'm too old for that nonsense. So, like, I will generally use what's there, either turntables or CDJs. But, like, they can already do the streaming. They can't do the offline locker yet. I mean, hopefully that's coming soon.
Okay.
But you can stream. So, you know, when I started doing my progress shows, I was like streaming directly into the Denon players, straight from the cloud, from Link, all the time. And so the technology is almost all coming together perfectly, but it's not quite. Like, you know, it's almost there. And I think, you know, in the next couple of years, we are going to be in a very different place in terms of the hardware and what it can do. Because the thing is with the 3000s, and I love the 3000s, but they are the first product, I think it's fair to say, that Pioneer DJ have really updated. They've always been quite notorious, certainly in my eyes. They release a product, it gets a few firmware updates to, like, tidy things up, and then that's it then, it's done. The 3000s, they're so powerful in terms of the hardware inside. There's so much more potential inside them, and Pioneer DJ keep adding new stuff in as time goes on, and I think that is the sign of the future for them as a company, which is really good. So I'm pretty confident, and I say I'm shouting out Pioneer DJ. I hope you guys can make it happen. I want my streaming inside my 3000s, please, because that is
me too.
In a few years, they'll be everywhere in a few years. You know, they're awesome players. They're really, really good, and I really enjoy using them. It's just right now, to get what I need to do, I have to plug in a laptop, and it's almost like a step backwards for me because I have to plug in a laptop. But I will do that because I want my Link. I have to have my Link. I need my Link.
I need my Link. Yeah, exactly. No, that would be amazing. And I do think it's showing where Pioneer's going, because if you think about just the updated 3000s and the Rev 7 alone, those two things show they're listening to people and really trying to push things forward.
Yeah. And I must say, you know, most of the time now on my gigs, I'm quite blessed. Like here in the UK, CDJs have been the standard club or bar equipment for 20 years now. Since the 1000s, they've been the standard fitting. You don't really see turntables, but the kind of spots that I play now, we do have turntables in those spots. And so I've spent most of my time in the past sort of 3 or so years, pre-pandemic as well, has been with Serato and Phase, because Phase has been another transformative product for me as well. I love Phase.
I love it.
Fully sucked when it came out. It sucked so hard. It was garbage. It was terrible.
I think I missed the sucking part or something. I waited a bit to get it. So when I got it, it worked pretty flawlessly and then only got better from there. I love Phase.
I don't even think about it anymore. I just plug it in and go. I don't take needles with me anymore. I just take my Phase, plug it in, and go. And it never even crosses my mind the fact that it might not work, because it always works. And that, to me, I've always loved Serato and turntables. For me, there's still something really special about that. So I'll generally, a lot of my gigs, I'll take out a mixer, be it an S9, S11, maybe a Rain. I'll take a battle mixer out. I'll take my Phase and my laptop, and I'm good. I'm set then. That is it's still incredibly comfortable. Serato for me is like, it's like putting on your favorite pair of sneakers. It's so comfortable, and it just I've been using it since the Scratch Live days, and it feels very comfortable indeed. And so there's something about that. Comfort's a big thing as a DJ, right? You need to feel like, I've got a really OCD thing about, if there's cables under my feet in a booth, I can't cope with it.
I start to go nuts after a while. I start kicking it out of the way, and it's so annoying. It throws me off so bad. I don't know why. It's like just under one part of my foot. I'm like, just move this. I can't handle it.
Comfort,
same.
such a big thing, man, and I find that really so for me, like an S9 or an S11, turntables and Serato, I'm just like sitting in a nice cushion. I'm there. I'm good. Like I feel calm. I feel relaxed. I'm ready to rock. Like that for me. And like the Rev 7 though is magic piece of kit. They've taken it back now. I'm hoping I can get it back again. Like they took it back. I was almost in tears when they took it back. I was like, I don't want it to go.
God, I haven't gotten one into my house yet. I'm like, I need to get this thing. I've used it at Pioneer, but I haven't gotten one at home
there
yet.
Aren't any like they can't sell them to people right now. They can't get them, and it's.
I don't
this
need
is
it.
something that people. Yeah, you don't need it.
I don't need to like. It's not like I need it for this weekend.
Still want it.
No, I want it really bad, but I don't need it enough to be like hitting them up, stressing them out. Like, help me.
But I'm a bit concerned. This is just something quite current. Like I don't know if you've seen the obviously the supply chain crisis right now.
Yeah, of course.
Chip shortage, all a big thing.
Yeah.
The latest thing I saw like day before yesterday is that now Shenzhen, which is the main tech city in China where all the chips and everything comes from, is now locked down again. So if you think it's hard to buy DJ stuff now, wait a couple of months because stuff's going to be backing up and backing up and backing up, and it's going to be even worse. So,
they closed like the Apple factory and stuff, right? Or
it's crazy. So, big love obviously to everyone out there. I hope they're all going to be okay. But like, it's not good. That's going to pile on yet another level, and obviously the stuff going on in Eastern Europe as well. Like, it's going to be a pretty bad time. So if you see something that you've been wanting to buy for a minute, don't hesitate, pick it up. Because you're not going to get another chance to buy it. If you see it, buy it. Because if there's something you like in two minds about,
even with cars, you see it.
Yeah. Or everything with it, and everything's got chips in it, right? Do you know what I mean? So every product right now is it's going to be even worse. So that's my like PSA to the audience there. Like, look out, it's going to get worse.
PSA. Again. Go buy shit while you can.
That's my job, to make you buy stuff.
Your literal job is to
speak to so many people. They're like, "Oh, I've bought all these things because of you," and I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry."
They're like, "I live in a cardboard box, but I've got an ATEM Mini Pro. It's really great. I can stream from my box flawlessly. People think it's a mansion." That's amazing. Let's see. I was going to play you a clip of something. I was trying to do a little research for the podcast, and I went on to Nick Spinelli's show, and I was walking my dog, listening. You guys are both hilarious, saying funny things, and you had referenced him like fighting with someone on the previous show, so I had to go back and listen back to that, and I was like, that was pretty funny to listen to. But then I heard you guys talking, and like this thing happened to me. I was doing it during the Twitch, pandemic days, but where I had accidentally played a podcast on half speed, and it makes it sound like the people talking are like just drunk or just crazy or something. And so sometimes I'll just go and listen to the podcast on half speed, and I'm like, this shit sounds hilarious. And so I was walking my dog yesterday, and I think my finger hit it on this one part, and you guys sounded like you were drunk, and I couldn't like change it back. And so I screen recorded it, and I thought it would be only right to try to play it and see what we can hear from this. So let's see if this comes through.
Probably because I don't pay attention to that anymore. I'm out of touch. I'm not gonna pretend. Like I went on the Mickey D's podcast.
You sounded drunk.
That the DJ City guys
Listen to
do.
this.
I went on that, and they were asking me about all the grime scene and stuff. I'm like trying to pretend like I know. I don't know any of that. I don't know what's popping in the grime scene. I'm not a clue. Like, I'm just an old man who likes to play 45s and, like, old disco edits, man. Like, that's what I am. So don't ask me about the grime. But if you're asking me the future of music right now,
That's horrible.
It's
That's
like
horrible.
a back of the club talk. If you ask me the future of music, don't ask me about the grime, man.
No one should know what they sound like when they're drunk. And now I think I do.
God.
And
I think this is
don't
the
like
drunk
it
simulator. This is what they can do to kids. Be like, this is what you're going to sound like. Either it'll make them want to drink or make them not want to drink. You're like, you sound like...
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Wait, let me
I'm
see.
really
There may have
with
been...
my voice, obviously. But that is... No.
Yes. No,
That
you
is
sound
dreadful.
great, but there's something about slowing it down that just makes people
Yeah.
sound like they're thinking about what they're talking about. And when you're talking about the grime, don't ask me about... I was walking my dog just laughing on the street. People are looking at me. I'm like, I think there was maybe one other part, but... You're like,
Africa, that's where it's all gonna be coming from for a long time to come.
I'm telling you, bro.
I think you're right. That really makes a lot of sense in different regions, different countries, because, like,
Yeah.
I feel like that whole culture and
Oh my God.
the
All
way
right.
they
So just wanted to try that out, and glad I
That's
did.
horrendous. I wish I'd never heard that. That is. I
I'm
mean, I
sorry.
don't really drink anyway, to
I'm
be
sorry.
honest. So that's all. That's all good. I
Oh
gave
my
up
God.
drinking.
So yeah, just needed to play that. Yeah. See, so well, I know I played it. There was during the Twitch time. I remember there was a few people that don't drink, and they came into my Twitch stream, and I put their podcast on, and I played at half speed, and they were like, "Oh my God." So yeah, that was hilarious. You talking about grime with a fake drunk voice, but so you don't drink, so you don't really drink alcohol, but we had a past guest, an amazing DJ, SK83, write in and ask why you don't drink caffeine anymore. And we've seen, I'll full screen your video right here. You've got a Red Bull fridge in the back. Obviously you've been part of caffeine in your system.
Well,
what's the
yeah.
deal? How do you wake up with children? What's your secret?
Well, this is the whole thing, man. It's like since my whole adult life, since I was a teenager, I drunk like Diet Coke all day, every day. Like all day,
Diet
every
Coke
day.
just
I'd walk
tastes
around with a
weird
2
to me,
liter
really.
bottle of Diet Coke, man.
Oh,
Like,
my
2 litre
God.
bottle all day. Like when I was sitting and I had like office jobs and stuff back in the day, I would sit there with a 2 liter bottle of Diet Coke right next to me, and
Wow.
I just always have, and so I've always had this massive tolerance for caffeine because of that. And then when I had kids, that gradually evolved into Red Bull, and sugar free, always sugar free. Because if it wasn't sugar free, I mean, I'm fat and unhealthy already. If I didn't drink sugar free drinks, I'd also be diabetic right now. So thankfully, it was always sugar free.
Right.
But
okay.
it just evolved into now it's one can of Diet Coke, then a Red Bull, one can of Diet, and then eventually within the last couple of years, especially connecting with the good folks at Red Bull, and they started sending us like cans and stuff in the fridge and all this, like it just evolved into I just drink Red Bull all day. And there'd be some days when I've drunk like 7 cans of Red Bull.
Oh God, that's heart attack right there.
But I had so much tolerance to it, it didn't really make any. It was just like drinking water to me, and I was just like, "This is This is pretty bad." But I don't want to stop because it could be horrendous. Like I'll suddenly have no energy, and I won't be able to do anything. And kids have to get up early and all this. And I just thought I can't do this. And I've never drunk tea or coffee. It's not my thing. I like cans of drink. That's what I do.
No tea? You're in
out
there?
not at
No
all.
tea?
I can't be bothered with it, man. It's easier to just crack a can open, isn't it, rather than boil the kettle and all this.
True.
Kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
So I just so I just did that, and then in November I had a toothache and I had to go to the dentist, and they gave me painkillers for a week, like nothing heavy, just like I was on ibuprofen and stuff for a week. I was like, you know what? I've been meaning to do this for a minute. Let's just give up caffeine now, because my mum as well. It probably came from my mum. My mum used to drink endless Diet Coke as well.
Okay.
She's in her 70s now, bless her. And like she used to drink endless Diet Coke. She's given it up, and she had like horrendous withdrawal symptoms, like properly like headaches and stuff for like a month. Like couldn't.
Oh my God, that's happened to me. I get crazy headache.
Yeah,
when I've tried to stop it.
Yeah, so and I was like scared of that. I didn't want to stop because I was scared of all that. And I thought, well, I'm on painkillers for a week anyway. Let's just stop drinking caffeine. Let's stop consuming it. And I did. And didn't get any kind of withdrawal symptoms at all, and now I just drink water pretty much all the time, and I don't feel any different. I mean, that's the thing. I can't even say like.
So
I
you
feel
never
better
feel
for
like. You never feel like you have to
No.
have a cup of coffee to wake up, a Red Bull, Coke, nothing.
No, I think I just reached such an equilibrium with it before, where it really wasn't actually having an effect on me at all because I was just full of caffeine all day, every day.
Right.
So now I've just taken that out of the equation. I just feel exactly like I did before. I can't say, oh, I feel like I'm full of the joys of spring and I'm all healthy. And I don't feel any different at all. I feel exactly the same.
So full of the joys of spring. You always have good, you have good like sayings. Like I heard the other thing on Nick Spinelli, you were like, I turned on this show with my 6-year-old and you're effing and jeffing right from the beginning. And I was like, that was the best term I've ever heard. Of like, if my kid starts swearing, I'd be like, stop effing and jeffing. What are you doing?
You can't be cussing around the kids. It's not a good look.
No, I know. Isn't that funny? I can't listen to so many things around my kid because like either podcasts or music I want to hear. It's like there's always something horrible going on. And I know you don't curse on any of your streams or videos or any of that.
No,
it's good.
It's funny, like, again, going back to the early 2000s when we had this crazy internet connection in 2002, we did like a radio show thing, like an online stream radio show thing from home. We leading a trend there, you know, but like we did it.
Yeah. No, I was doing that too. I was doing Ustream.
Yeah.
I did Live 365, Ustream, like all those different platforms.
It was all going down, right? Yeah. And like we started doing that, and that, you know, I was a young man at that time, and we had a few drinks in the studio, and we were like totally vibing out, and we were just cussing the whole show. And after about 3 episodes, we sort of listened to it back, and it's like, this doesn't add anything to what we're doing. It doesn't add anything, you know. There's no like benefit to cussing in a show. It doesn't make you sound cooler. Doesn't make you sound like more adult.
It's somewhat of a crutch. Even in live events, I notice myself doing like, put your fucking hands up, or what the, you're fucking crazy. And it's like, then I listen back, I'm like, I guess I could just say what I want to say. I don't have to like, it doesn't add accent.
Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't. It doesn't add anything. And like, I do swear all the time in real life when I'm with adult company.
Right.
I swear constantly. Like, I shock people because they've never heard me swear like on streams or on videos or anything, and they're like kind of shocked by it a lot of the time.
Like, are you okay?
All the time, I'm and like, but when it comes to content of any kind, I don't think it really adds anything. I don't think you need it to be like an edgelord. Like, I mean, like, it doesn't matter. You know,
I know
there's nothing wrong. And then I think it's fine if the odd thing comes out and just naturally, that's okay. But if you just generally keep it on the low, I think that's better for everyone, because I want everyone to be able to watch my content. You know, I don't want to exclude kids from, you know, I want kids to discover my DJ City and Beatsource videos and get into DJing, and you know, I don't want to put anyone off. You know, there are people in this world who are offended by cussing too. It's certainly not me, but like there are people who don't believe in it and wouldn't want to watch anything with too much swearing in it. So yeah, that's just my take on it. It's not any kind of moral thing. It's just like practicality and like why exclude anyone from what you do. That's my take.
Right.
In a club, I'm all. I wouldn't really care in a club. I'd be on that mic. Just like you, I think, because you know, everyone there is of age. They're old enough, and they're in a club.
Course.
They're probably not.
But
that
I do notice it's
Yeah.
just a thing that you fall back on, just because you're like,
oh yeah,
I don't
100%.
know.
Yeah,
it's like a crutch, you know, that you just lean on a little bit. We had Vlats, the amazing Vlats, who helps. He film this show sometimes and edit, and DJ City Latino. Runs that, does so many things. He asked, are you coming to NAMM next year?
Well, next year or this year?
Well, is it this year? Is it because the one from January got postponed?
Yeah, they've like moved it to June.
Oh,
it's June sometime.
Well, that's pretty damn soon.
I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty soon. I don't know. I maybe it's a maybe right now. Like I think it'll probably go ahead from the sound of it. I don't know whether there's going to be much to see there. I mean, that's the thing. Like all of the because of these supply chain issues and stuff, everything's like been released. Like the Rev 7 would have been a NAMM product.
You're right.
In January, and it's already out. You know, so I don't think there's going to be that much to see there. But obviously, I'd love a trip to come and see. You know, come back to LA and hang out. So we'll see. We'll see.
Right.
Maybe.
Well, do you have any? If you have any questions for me, or you have any, special words for the DJs out there listening, let me know.
Well, special words for the DJs. I mean, just keep it going. Like, you know, we've all had a terrible couple of years. It's been you know, up and down for everybody. I'm so impressed with the resilience of the whole community and how people have taken that time. And I said in a comment on a video the other day, like, I wish the last 2 years had not happened how they did. But for some people, it's been a good chance to get perspective on what they love about DJing. Certainly for me, it has. You know, I've reconnected with what I love about DJing and what makes me happy about DJing. And I think that applies to a lot of people. You know, and it really sucks that it had to happen this way, but it did. And I think, you know, I'm astonished at how all of my DJ, you know, colleagues and friends and everybody that I've seen around the world has coped with this past 2 years. It's inspiring to me, and I'm so glad that the culture and DJing, it has persisted and it hasn't gone away. And it's been, because it was such an important part of people's lives during the pandemic as well. You know, music and streaming and everything else was still a massively important thing, and it helped people cope with what they were going through, and some people still are to this day. And I just think, it's reinforced for me how precious and wonderful music can be. And I think I'm just so proud of all my DJs out there who have just persevered with it and doing their thing. And whether you're playing bougie bottle service spots or you're just playing to 10 people on your Twitch stream at home, like whoever you are as a DJ, just the biggest respect for everybody out there right now. It's been a tough time, and bless you all, 100%.
That's huge right there. I think, you know, that's very important, and I think that's like a good observation. And you know, DJs need to realize, we've made it through this time, and I think a lot of the things you talked about on this show about you can be a full-time DJ. You know, you were a full-time DJ, like you said, for 5 years, and then you started to take a step back and look at other things you're into and things that you can do. And there's ways to still make a living and be a father and be in this industry and still do it, you know, and find things you like and be a tech nerd and be able to make money from it and be happy and still follow through with your passion. Maybe not the exact way you had pictured since day one, right? But it's
yeah, exactly. I mean, we all have to adapt and deal with what things are thrown at us and everything else. And I'm just so proud of how DJs have done that. And I think, you know, don't lose sight of the fact that DJing is about bringing joy to people and bringing joy to their lives through music. And all DJs do that in their own unique and special ways. And it reinforces why I love DJing and what we do and how important it is. And so for me, it sucks it had to happen this way, but it's been a very valuable time, I think, in so many respects.
Yeah, I think that's true. And if you were going to, like, you know, if a DJ only had a certain amount of money and they were going to invest into like a system that hopefully would last a long time, what would be like the gear that you would invest in? Because, you know, you see so many things come across your plate.
Well, I mean, you start off on like a tablet with DJ or something like that on a tablet and just get used to the concepts and the ideas.
Sure.
If you want to then get some hardware, you spend $150, $200 on a basic record box or Serato DJ Lite controller. So like a Newmark mix track or a DDJ 400 or something like that. And then that will stay with you. Those skills you learn on there will stay with you. If you decide it's not for you, you haven't invested too much money and you're not going to lose too much. It's the equivalent today of what we had in my day, which was buying a pair of belt drive turntables and a mixer. It's that.
Yes.
I used to spend when I worked in that retailer, you know, that mail order place, we used to sell Newmark DJ in a box packages. Came with 2 TT1510 belt drive turntables and a Blue Dog mixer, and that was £200, so like equivalent to about $250, and we sold them like Christmas time by the truckload. Do you know what I mean? That's what we used to, so, and that still exists today, but it's a controller, and that's the way to go. Just get yourself they're all pretty similar at that price range. Don't know, you know, pick the one that appeals to you. Hercules do some good ones now that work with Serato as well. There's loads of good stuff out there. So pick up one of those and just see what starts floating your boat then. And then after that, that's the time to then start you expanding and getting higher end stuff. Just you'll figure out then what kind of DJ you want to be. Do you want to be a mobile DJ? Do you want to be a bar DJ, a club DJ, a Twitch DJ? You know, that's enough then to get you started and figure out what you want to do with your DJing as you move forward. And so that I would never say spend more than about $200 on your starter kit. That's the way to go.
That's great. There you go. All you newbies listening, if you're trying to set somebody up. Amazing. Well, yo, I know it's late out there. Thank you for taking the time finally to come on the show. I know we're both part of the Beatsource fam. Yeah, I'm so glad we did too. And I mean, talk about learning a lot. I already learned a lot from this episode. I got to go back and look up some of these cameras and lights and all types of stuff. And just learning about your journey and your life, honestly, is super interesting. And, you know, it's amazing to see what you've built and everything that you've done, you know, from the beginning. And, you know, as much as sometimes you say like, oh, this and that about your DJing, like I love listening to you DJ on Twitch, and I love the liquid drum and bass sets. I love drum and bass, but I love all the stuff, you know, the stuff that I don't know, and just looking at all the work that you put into your Twitch stream is just impressive and inspirational.
I know I'm not a bad DJ, man.
Yeah,
you know, I've
well,
done
not at all. You're
I've
great.
done my 10,000 hours. I'm not a bad DJ these days because
you're dope.
You know, is what it's all about. And yeah, I know how to rock a party. I know how to,
of course,
to structure a set and do. You know, that's a very comfortable place for me right now. So I'm good with that. But yeah, you know, it's if you enjoy what you do, it never feels like work, right? Do you know what I mean? It never does. That's the whole thing. Cliche, but it's true. You know.
Good thing to end on. Mojaxx, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the DJ City UK lab when I'm watching you.
Big ups. Thank you, man.
Or the Beatsource one, sorry. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Right. Oh, man, what a pleasure having Mojaxx on the show. Huge thank you to him for coming on the show, blessing us with all that knowledge and insight and everything. I'm going to go back, rewind, and write down some of that equipment stuff so I could learn from it. And thank you guys, the Beatsourcers, for tuning in week after week. Really appreciate it. We will be back next week. Hit me on Instagram if you want to keep in touch or give me any suggestions or whatever at DJ Spider, DJ SPIDER. The 20 podcast is produced by Beatsource. Join us next week for more interviews as we discuss music that matters to DJs. I'm DJ Spider signing off. Peace.